11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans. Another day closer to victory. For all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live at 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 Pacific, for about an hour and 90 minutes each day. We do 3 gun-related topics each day, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube. We simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. We're watching the live comments that are coming in from the people watching us live over on Gun Channels and YouTube. We'll take the audio occasionally and take the audio and post it up on iTunes as podcast. So if you're listening to the show in the future, we encourage you to give us some feedback. Let us know you're out there if you'd like to hear the show more often over there. If you're watching it over on YouTube after the fact, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like the shows. It lets us know you're there. It also helps to get the show recommended to more listeners. At least that's the plan. So we really do appreciate the people that help us out with that. We've got 4 hosts. Everybody's here today. Dan was having a little bit of trouble, but Dan will jump in.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you fine. So thanks for jumping in.
Okay, I'll see if I can hold the technical pieces together.
Right on. Then we got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Glad to be here, guys.
Let's see. Then we got, what's this guy's name? Smeggy. Smeggy jumping in from Michigan. Thanks for joining.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Right on. And then I'm down here in Arizona. So this is episode 326. We will be talking today about social media. We do our behind the scenes sort of how to use the internet topic this on Mondays. And we're going to be talking about gun tech. What do we think about glocks, serrations? So before we get into all of that and all the stuff we do on a daily basis, we usually take a break at the beginning of the show. Talk about anything that happened overnight, or in this case, something that happened over the weekend.
Nothing good. Britain got smacked again, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, there was that attack where a dude was driving a truck or something, and then people jumped out and started stabbing people.
yeah,
And got a bunch of them. That's not so good.
they're
I don't know
probably
how you did, right? But I know Smeggy, what you ran the show on Saturday, right? When Rick had to take the day off from his normal scheduled show on Saturday to go to his range in Rhode Island. He had to do like a personal interview or something to be able to get a slot on his outdoor range, which I guess he did get. Anyway, he had to not, he couldn't be at the computers for the show. I think you were doing a lobby at the time, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then we ended up going forward, talking about the Gun Channels trading cards and talking about some concepts there. So that was fun to have a bit of a conversation about. And then after that, we had the tactical quiz. So another successful tactical quiz out there on Saturday. And then quite a few shows Sunday. Matt and Yankee come and talk it. So a syndicated radio show out of Texas. Yoder always puts a link on Gun Channels for that show.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty cool.
Remember in some of the chatter, people had bought a couple of guns here recently, so people have been shooting.
Well, but again, not really a lot of like as far as newsworthy, like gun-related stuff in the news. Like I didn't see any bills getting passed or this, that, or the other thing.
All right, so I guess we'll dig into the show. On Mondays, we usually take a look forward to see what's coming up. One of the things we do is on a daily basis is talk about a gun movie. So we like to on Mondays talk about all the different movies that we'll be looking at this week. So if you have a chance to jump ahead and watch one of them before we talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about Assault on Precinct 13. Let's see, tomorrow we'll be talking about Southern Comfort, the movie. Wednesday, the siege of J.Ville. And then Thursday, lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels, and then Friday is crank. I don't know if there's really any rhyme or reason to that assortment. I think Z posted a couple of those, and then some of these probably came in from email or comment suggestions. But definitely, I think, a random assortment of them. Let's see. Then we'll have the weekly stuff. We've got the gun shops of the day. Got a few of those coming in on email. Thanks everybody for those. Tuesday's show, we'll be talking about the Second Amendment Tuesday, and our state of the day, or state of the week, I guess, is Tennessee. So that'd be interesting to talk about. We talked about Kentucky. I don't know why we're talking about those two right at the same time. Second Amendment issue on Tuesday is what would you define as an infringement? So it'll be interesting. Then on the good idea, bad idea, we'll be talking about publicizing your gun hobby. So that's kind of interesting. Actually, one of the reasons I kind of like the internet is you're able to talk about your guns with people that ain't near you. So, you don't have to worry about neat stuff happening at the local level for the most part. Anyway,
ain't near you. That doesn't sound very friendly.
Well, I just mean, if you start telling your neighbors about what you own in your house, and then something goes on or something, what I'm saying, something that you want to keep hidden, something that you might want to keep private because of the value or the whatever, then I'm just saying, the nice thing about the internet is you can share your hobby with people that have a great interest in what you're doing, but, state's over. So not so much. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the basic premise that you're making, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. But as, I guess, kind of a side point, if you're concerned about your neighbors, maybe there's another message there in regards to your security.
Well, I hear you. That's not really the topic right now, but people move in and move away, and children get older, they get friends. I don't know, all kinds of things can happen. Kids grow up and get married, and then there's a sibling, or not a sibling, the spouse. Anyhow, so that'll be good idea, bad idea. We also do the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown on Tuesdays. So if you're taking pictures and you include the hashtag Daily Gun Show over on Instagram, we will add you to the 387 posts we had as of last week in the archive, and we go through the recent ones and we pick one for fabulous bragging rights and prizes. What else? We've got everything that we normally do during the week, but then on Tuesday we'll also be doing a myth of the week, and there's nothing listed in here, so we need to come up with a myth of the week for this week. And I'm surprised it's not something about 9mm again. So next we'll get to Wednesday. CCW topic, CCW without a gun. So using the W part of CCW, I guess. Then we'll be talking about entertainment, top 10 most commonly used guns in movies. Where did Smeggy start doing all the entertainment segments?
Most likely not, no.
Then on Wednesday, we used to do the tactical quiz, and we'll be talking about nothing. I guess that was not the same day. So then Thursday, we will get to gun stuff and the dumbest thing you ever did with a gun. I don't know if I like that one or not, but it's a topic. Training, taking the class twice, question marks. Then we talk about shooting events. So we have a calendar over at Gun Channels. Anybody can use it. You can just head up to the top of any page over on Gun Channels, and under resources, you'll find the firearms calendar. Add any events, maybe a big gun show, something that you attend, something you wish you could attend, something that you've heard about, and let people know about it. That's the whole point of Gun Channels. And on Thursdays, we take some time to talk about those events that are posted over there. Let's see, and then looks like we got, that's another thing. And then we've got Gun Channel Story Time on Thursday, and we'll be talking about King Bob of England. I don't know what that is. Is that for real?
I think that's somebody's idea of a joke.
Well, it could be that time when they had to make me the king for a few years, but that's kind of a state secret.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that. If that Is that a Gun Channel story? King Bob? Is that about you, Bob, or a different Bob?
No,
I think that was just a joke that somebody took too far.
No, that didn't solve anything about that. So I don't know what that is. So anyway, I guess things like that happen. And then we'll move on to Friday, and it's alternative gun topics, and it's boat guns, which should be interesting. Then gun biz, becoming a professional gunsmith. Got a lot of gunsmith ones, and we pretty much do nothing with gunsmithing individually. So I don't know why people keep asking us about gunsmith stuff. But we'll then wrap up the week. We do kind of what we're doing now on the other end of the week sometimes. So that's the week that we're looking at now. We're in episode 326. We'll end up with episode 329, 330. So if there was a way to take that number and divide it by, 5? And then that would be the number of weeks that we've been doing the show.
It can't be done. There's no way of doing it.
They make abacuses.
I would like to take a moment, if this is a good breaking point, to butt in, so to speak. It was the anniversary of Tiananmen Square in 1989, June 4th, 1989. And I think for those of us that were alive and conscious at that time, or even if you're just aware that something happened back in that time, just taking 2 minutes to take a look at what was happening is, I think it's a modern example rather than a 1700s example or an 1800s example of what can happen on a macro level when a government disarms the citizenry, and who's in charge of the government once that is complete. And I think that's the, from our side of the world, that's the lesson to be learned, and to keep that lesson reminding those that may not be aware of that incident, so that they can see, because there was a lot of, at that time, video tape taken of that event, of thousands of disarmed citizens rallying for change within their government. Almost, in fact, there was even a kind of a temporary statue made of Lady Liberty, worshiping democracy, not America, but democracy, what the people want. And I think it's important for us to remember the lessons others may have died for, and the fact that we still have those rights, and what we might give away and may be on the receiving end at some point down the road if we don't safeguard our own rights. So to me, that is the lesson of Tiananmen Square.
Well, I'm not sure.
Good point, Dano.
I don't know if Dano is just pro-China or if he's got the most clever transition into our next segment that's ever been made. But I guess that'll take us into how to use social media segment this week. But before we do, I'd like to take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day to feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a place we built a while back. It's a community, and it's focused on firearms. There's lots of stuff to do over there. There's lots of it's run by its members, so there's lots of members. Each day we like to feature one. I don't think I have a theme to this week, but I might. And today, anyway, it's Angry American. So Angry is quite active. Lots of places on Gun Channels. You might recognize him from his appearances here as in the daily quiz from that we do here. So he's one of the highest, if not the highest winner right now. And yeah, active all over Gun Channel. So hats off to you.
Speaking of Angry American, I think it's ironic that you picked him today, because the question for today's Tactical Pop quiz was sent in by Angry American, as well as I received another email just a day or two back with more questions and answers and citations from Angry American helping out in the Tactical Pop quiz. And he is a great asset. He's done that more than once. He's done it a number of times. And he's a great person to have around. He also helps out the show a lot. And I just want to say thank you, Angry.
Did you say asset or ass hat? Because one of them's rude.
I think he knows what I mean.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, it was nice to let Angry win the tactical quiz this weekend. I didn't want him to feel too sad, you know.
Is it true that you joined the show because you were basically allowing him to take the lead in the tackle pop quizzes?
Oh yeah, for the
So
pop
that you
quizzes.
disqualify yourself, essentially? Yeah.
It's only fair.
All right. Well, Dano had talked about, I guess, how great China is, capitalism in China, or
No. Well, I was talking about the use of media that we can all still see today, but it was in regards to what will happen if you let a government disarm the populace.
Okay,
But
so I don't really remember it.
Media,
what year was this?
1989.
Okay, so I was aware of things,
January,
but I wasn't. What are you
June
yelling at us?
4th.
Can you turn down your microphone a little bit?
But my system's all messed up. I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah. So you're also must have a bit of a lag. So what we're talking about, though, is in the social media segment of the show today is why social media is so lame. And I'm pretty sure Artis and Tony put that in as a suggestion on one of the shows in the comment field there as a joke. And I figured it was worth putting in as an actual topic because I think I know he was kidding, but I'm sure a lot of people, their perception of their attitude, their interest in social media is simply as, or they consider it to just be a time waster and, of no significance. And I guess it'd be difficult to, I don't know, if there's probably just as many justifications for its effectiveness as there is ways to discredit the metrics people use to say how good it is. So I guess since I'm a big advocate of it, I thought it'd be an interesting topic to kind of throw back and forth. But I guess Dano's point there, I don't know if you were trying to make it specifically though, but like you said, there's a lot of people with cameras. Having the stuff on a camera is one thing. How do you distribute that? And the democratized new media, the internet, the communications platforms that are no longer regulated by being, so expensive to be distributed that only the largest companies on the planet could be involved with it. That's those walls have fallen down. So I think that's I don't know if it was the first indication, but that was an indication of it, of the power and the significance of it, right? Or the significance of the implications of a bunch of individual cameras.
Let me know if it's too loud or too soft.
Bit too soft, but maybe somewhere about halfway back to where you were. Yeah, thanks. Is
that better?
Yeah. So we'll need to do a show once you're more comfortable and familiar with that software you're using, just as a side note, because that is pretty interesting. That's the freeware. It's right. It's free, right? That free software.
Yep. Yeah, but the American and Western television crews back in 1989, because there was no real social media at that time, they were there actually for a signing of a major agreement between Russia and China. And it was just a matter of sheer dumb luck that there happened to be dozens of film crews with satellite hookups. Because otherwise, that if it was just literally manually going to another country via old school tape, much of it would have been seized. But they were able to get it up to satellite at that point and get it out of the country. And now we have, on an individual user level, a very similar ability using different technology. And on Tony's point, I think, and I kind of understand the joke, I'm going to just put out a number for the sake of putting a number, but I'm going to say, 90 to 95% of what's out on social media is entertainment or fluff. But through either intentional placement of the camera or just by dumb luck, like Tiananmen Square, 5 to 10% of it is going to be extremely meaningful and important and timely. But you don't know when that's going to happen. So I think that's a major advantage that, everybody having a camera and having having a phone and having a camera in that phone and an internet connection has the ability to take that that $1 million video, so to speak, of that event that otherwise never would have gotten noticed. That back in 1989, never would have happened. You had to be that major company.
So we've got Too Hottie saying he doesn't think Tony was kidding, but then Tony's over here on the YouTube side saying that he was, well, his point about social media was that it is good for communication, but seems to have become a substitute for activism. Yeah, perhaps, but I think reading a newspaper headline and setting it down is what, you know, what used to happen. Not everybody just jumped up out of their seats and went and marched, unless the cause was that important, I guess. Or maybe there was just fewer things to do back in the day. I don't think so. We see a lot of marches and stuff still. I don't think it's a substitute for activism. I don't know. Has anyone ever done, I've never paid attention to anything like this, but has anybody ever done some kind of a study, I guess, of how big these marches are, how often they happen, on what subjects? I remember seeing something about a crowd of people going to see Trump versus Obama, right? There was like a bunch of people in the yard or something in DC, probably the inauguration or something. And they were comparing that, but I don't remember seeing like a comparison of like the 2012 marches on the Capitals with something that the other side would march about.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back, including going back to Tiananmen Square, all I've ever heard throughout the last several decades have been estimates, because there is no good way to get solid numbers.
Well,
at
but
these types of events, because they're open air events.
Okay, but there's ways to categorize how many events and what they're for, like what they're pro or anti, right? And then I'm sure there's got to be tech that can look at a crowd and get. And if there ain't, somebody could literally just sit down and try counting, right? I mean, you got to be able to say it's 100 or 1,000 from a picture.
Right, but you know, once you get beyond a certain number, you know, it's not so obvious, and then we get to the untrained eye between what's the between 50,000 and 100,000.
No, that's why I think facilities do know. I think Washington D.C. does know based on the number of like the physical amount of room they're taking up, like how many streets they're filling up. Like they got to know. They have to worry about moving the trash and ambulance service and all the rest. The cities definitely know what it's like to have 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people in their town doing a march.
Well,
yeah, there's an easy way to estimate it. Cattlemen who are, you know, go out and look at a field of cattle, they'll count so many cattle in a certain block, and then you just visually move that block around. So you physically count one block, and then that'll give you an average, right? So you can figure out they filled up this much. That means that they're people if they filled up that much space. Same with cattle. You can get a really close estimate of numbers by counting just a section, and then just.
And that's certainly a technique that I would not put down at all. It certainly worked for the ranchers, but another technique I was going to suggest is the cell companies have to know how many active connections they're getting. How many people are there that don't have a cell phone in their pocket? Every connection is a person.
That's a good point.
And so they must have an idea how many people there are through the number of cellular connections actively going on.
I don't know how we got off onto this, but I think you could also just go up to the back of that crowd and just tap one of them on the shoulder and then let them know that there's all kinds of free benefits being handed out. They just need to count off, and then they'll immediately count off and get in line.
Well, actually, you posted the question, how many people are in these crowds? That's how we got off. That's how we got on that subject.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about activism and if it relates to, if it's a substitute for activism or if it's I guess a substitute is what Tony was saying. Anyway, so I think it's possible. It'd be interesting to see somebody do some kind of poll, I guess, or like I say, study on what are the.
And that's the thing, you know, I know that the way it's being framed here is that you know, it's social media is not a substitute for activism or whatever. And I would say, as far as, is it a substitute for, you know, writing your governors and stuff? Yeah, probably not. However, the reach you can get from social media, if you have however many thousands of people following you or something, and you post something up, I have to admit, I use Instagram a lot to figure out what the heck's going on in California, because I follow a couple of people that post a lot of stuff about what's going on out there.
Like hashtag.
So, exactly, like #tactical and ATEi for CA. 2017 matters. I mean, it's like those things, you know, like you said, is it a perfect substitute? No, but it definitely, I think it has power. It's not to be discredited. Now, if people just post a funny picture and say, well, I'm done, I'm going to bed now, I can see his point. But if you supplement what you're already doing with that, I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing.
I think one attribute of social media that really adds in real time is the coordination of people to a certain effort. Like, as an example, we've all heard of flash mobs and that sort of concept. Well, that same sort of thing can also happen towards, we're all meeting at the Capitol on Tuesday at 10 in front of the XYZ building. And, you know, and the coordination of that, where you're going to meet, where you're going to go afterwards, what the message is, coordination of the message. It can be for all of those sorts of things. In fact, I've even used that down at my state capitol in regards to the Illinois State Rifle Association and coordination of the Illinois Gun Rights Day information, so that, you know, we don't have different people going off in different directions. We can all have one focused effort in one direction.
So I think that if we look at money, the NRA is making more money than they used to, and most of the other organizations are probably making more money than they used to. There's more organizations than there ever were, and I'm sure some of them have fallen along from lack of funding, but you know, most of them, not most of them, but some of them have definitely stuck around. Definitely, I'm assuming they're making more money, and that comes from awareness. I think that Coke and Pepsi are a good example of the value of awareness. They advertise a lot, not in front of places that are going to make an immediate return, but they want to get their brand out there. So I think that's the thing, again, that social media has democratized that ability. They used to pay, well, they still pay a lot of money to be in, you know, certain venues where the venues that have eyeballs, right? Now people can choose where to put their eyeballs. They don't have 4 choices or 3 choices like when we were growing up. You know, 3 choices to look at stuff, and then some newspapers to look at and some magazines to look at. There's a few venues. Now there's people choose to spend their time looking at their phones, right? They're always talking about that. They're always looking at the internet. We're always looking at the internet. So that reach, I understand the frustration when, you know, maybe there's, I don't know, has there been a march that if people failed to show up at? I don't know if that's happened multiple times, then I'm not aware of it. But there's, in addition to people getting up off their butts and getting out and doing a march or whatever, it's the funding for the organizations that exist. And I think that has, that the internet has facilitated that, and the social networks on the internet are what empower us as individuals without knowing a bunch of tech stuff or having a bunch of funds to create entities out here that allow people to get all kinds of information out there.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you figure the whole point of a march is to get a certain topic, you know, talked about in the regular people talking about, oh, did you hear about so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that law really sucks and whatever. And I think social media can get enough eyeballs to get people talking about stuff. So it has somewhat of the same effect. Now, it might mean more the fact that, okay, obviously, you know, people took time off work and marched on the Capitol or something. Yeah, that's going to be a more powerful statement. But I still think social media has its place.
All right, well, we've solved that, I think. So you're welcome. We can move along, I guess, and pick something else in the internet or the world. I guess we'll be going on to gun tech here in a minute. Unless you guys want to do one of the other subjects. It's kind of different when we don't have... What?
He's got that working just fine.
Right on schedule.
Excuse me?
Now you're gone.
You're very quiet, Dano.
Way down. You're way down a tunnel. You're clear, but you're way far away. That gives us time to talk about windbreakers. So
Okay,
it's pretty
is that
hot here.
better?
Not wearing a windbreaker. It's like 100 and something degrees. Yes.
Okay. All right. Time for the tactical quiz. I'll try to get through it. Let me know. Am I echoing at all?
No, you sound perfect now.
All right.
Quit changing stuff.
All right. Well, unfortunately it's still out of balance on my end because you're all echoing to me, but I can deal with it for now. Time for the tactical pop quiz. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on gun channels, limber up your fingers, put your cursor down in the text box, and get ready to go. Smeggy, are you available to assist with today's show?
10-4, good buddy. I have seen all of the appropriate information.
Excellent to have a robot along with me. And today, as we mentioned, was sent in by Angry American. So thank you, Angry. And one of these words I'm going to ask for help from my cohorts in pronouncing, but I will give it a shot my first time. Everybody can laugh and then give me a hand. Per naval doctrine. Okay. Per naval doctrine, when loading a 16-round magazine for the Oerlikon cannon, how many of them were inert rounds? Per naval doctrine, when loading a 16-round magazine for the Oerlikon cannon, how many of them were inert rounds?
I'm not sure. I think it's Oerlikon.
Oerlikon?
Nope,
Probably.
Nope.
1 is wrong. 3 is wrong. 4 is wrong. YouTube
There we
side.
go. We got it on YouTube.
Oh, who got it?
Jared Walsh.
Congratulations, Jared Walsh. The correct answer is 2 inert rounds, which is kind of interesting because you don't think of people ever putting inert rounds amongst live rounds. But congratulations, you are today's tactical pop quiz winner, and we're running a who can be the smartest, brightest contest over here. And so put your name in over at dailygunshow.com/popquiz and put your name in there and today's date so we know what contest you won. And congratulations, you are today's tactical pop quiz winner.
Hey, way to go, man.
Yeah, good job coming in on the YouTube side. Having the correct answer, Jared Walsh, that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Good job, Smeg. All right. And speaking on that note, I know I was not here on Friday. So I'm assuming since you guys don't have a list, you skipped the 17 rules of a gunfight.
The tactical.
And if I can figure out. Yes. And now I can't find where the heck I put it.
Well, actually,
We'll come back.
we made one up, Dano, and it was what's the most important thing to think about in a gunfight? And the answer was, what would Dano do?
I'll tell you what, we'll come back to this part of the show in a little bit. I got to go get my notes. So let's continue on with a different topic.
All right. Well, then let's go to gun tech. What do you think about Glock finally putting front serrations on their guns while my slide is at ATEi getting serrations added? So I'm guessing this came in from Moonfood, and I think it's fine. I don't mind front serrations on a gun, especially when they got a long slide. It'll make it look cooler, make it look balanced.
If it was something that John Browning ever did, I would say it's okay. And I do believe he did do it on 1 or 2 guns. So, yeah.
So is this a good idea, bad idea?
No, not really. It's supposed to be gun tech. So what do we think about front serrations? I mean, chamber checks, people don't think they're cool. So I guess tactically, they're not necessarily the best thing to do. But like I say, I don't think just because you got serrations on the front that you got to go around doing stuff. I think they're neat looking.
Right. I guess front we talking about doing chamber checks or just the idea of front serrations, period?
Well, the only reason you'd have front serrations for use would be to do chamber checks. So I associate.
It would make it more effective for pistol whipping someone.
I mean, if I'm going out for the day and I just want to verify the condition of my firearm before I leave my home, and I can't, and there's no other way to verify that, certainly having serrations to be able to grab hold firmly of the slide and do a quick check before I leave my home, that's reasonable. You know, granted, I understand you should always know the condition of your gun, but you know, we do have this thing called sleep that we go through and aren't quite 100% sure one way or another. And before you leave your house, you should absolutely be sure what the condition of your firearm is. So I'm going to go with serrations in general. Good idea. Front serrations, personal preference.
So Dano, do you have a bucket of sand by your front door so that as you go out the house, you can just, you know, point the barrel into the sand barrel and check the condition of your gun?
No, I don't. And if I did, I'm sure one of my neighbors would be on the phone very quickly.
No. I mean inside the house, just inside the front door, you'd have a barrel of sand. Like some people have an umbrella stand, you'd have a barrel of sand, right? You just, because I mean, really, anytime you're playing with your action like that, you're taking a chance of getting a accidental discharge. That's all.
I suppose if you are not observing the rules of safety and not keeping your finger out of the frickin' trigger guard.
There's been guns have gone off without a finger anywhere near the trigger. Just saying.
Well, I don't know. I guess having a bucket of sand, you could think of it maybe for use in a fire. So it could have an alternative use. Cat might poop in it.
Yeah, I don't see having a sand trap in your house is a very bright idea.
So what was your concept there, Bob? Like that way you're not having to press check because you're just clearing it all the time?
Well, you'd just be like I say, anytime you're operating an action, there's always, because as soon as you're manipulating the gun, there's, you know, the more times you do anything like that, the more likely you are to have an accidental discharge. I mean, it's unlikely, but it's still possible, right? So if you really wanted to be safe, yeah, you would have, like, anytime you're going to do a check like that, you want to make sure, number one, the gun's pointing in a safe direction. If you're in your house, direction is, unless it's straight down into the basement, right? But I don't know, bucket of sand, sure, why not? Like I say, like you guys were saying, there's secondary uses, putting out fires or for your cat to shit in. Cats just got to go and you're not letting them out the door. Hey, better than the flower pot, because it'll kill the plants, believe me. I know.
So front serrations, though, I don't know. Glock putting them on there. I guess the negative side is it is nice having the front of a Glock being so smooth for holster wear. If you're wearing a Kydex holster, potentially that's just more abrasion. So eventually, if you have a perfect holster, the one they don't make anymore or something, you might wear it out a little faster, putting front serrations in there.
Well, I think one of the things that this topic kind of accidentally hit on, but the whole fact that he's, you know, it's framed upon, what do you think of, you know, Glock doing it while I'm paying someone else to go add some to mine, is more just in general. What do you think of the like the gun industry, the big companies looking at, like, what's the most common thing aftermarket people are doing to a gun? So then they say, oh, everyone seems to really like these because there's all these custom Glock slides being cut with front serrations and stuff. So they just do it themselves. So I think that's just a broader picture. You know, it's a comment on that the big gun companies look at what the aftermarket people are doing. And if there's a way that they can do it in their regular production, you know, it might make them more attractive to people that were considering buying them or not.
Well, I don't agree. And here's why Glock's probably not going to sponsor this show, since I think it's more of a chasing the ball instead of looking forward and doing what the other guy's doing. Like big deal. So they didn't do anything. Any other part is, I think the Glock is unique in the fact that it's basically just square. So when you're talking about having a blank canvas, you can't really get a more blank canvas than a Glock. So if they're going to put their serrations up front, they're basically limiting it to now people who like their front serrations. One of the things about front serrations that is why Glocks are so popular as a platform to do this is people can put them into their mills and they can put all different kinds of designs and shapes, and it's even if the place only offers 6 different things, by the combination of 6 things, you can pretty much make your guns unique. So all of a sudden Glock puts theirs on there, it's no longer really unique. So people that are doing it for the artistic thing are kind of locked into Glock's version of what looks good. And then I guess unless they're just doing it for people that want to chamber check. I just don't see it as being appealing to someone who's really doing it for the artistic. Like,
I agree with you wholly, G-Webs, as far as it eliminates any customization you might want to put it in your pistol to make it yours, to make it unique. It removes all of that. Now you don't have a choice.
It takes away options from the end user.
Yes.
All right, so they'll come out with a plain Glock, just like they come out with a Colt standard model GI 45.
Well, that's not coming out with a model. That's just having a model also.
But okay, so look, the thing is, I look at this completely the opposite of you guys. I think it's a great thing. I think it shows that it's a company that sees what their customers are doing and says, people seem to like this. Let's put it on our guns standard, right? Because they're doing this to modify them. Let's just make it a standard. And then, if they get enough call for it, then they'll say, oh, well, now we're going to make one that doesn't have any of that.
No.
And,
Bob, you're assuming every customer is doing the exact same customization, and they're not.
They might not be, Dano, but that's why I'm saying, like, Glock is a genius, right? They're not. Yeah, no, because not only are they going to have this now, but then they're going to say, oh, you want the old style back? Well, we have a custom model called the Glock Standard.
No, hold on. They didn't only make serrations. I'm not aware that they only made serration. They're just making a serration model, just like they make a compensated model. So they didn't change all Glocks to serrated.
Right. Okay, well, then I don't know what your argument is, because...
So here's my argument. You're saying they're innovative. I'm saying that they're lazy and they're the opposite of innovative.
No, I'm saying I never said once they were innovative. What I said was they were responding to a customer demand. Customers were having this done, and it's just like Ford. People want this car. People want this car in this stupid lemon green color. We'll produce it in that color. I mean, it's perfect marketing.
Hold on. Quit yelling at us. So let me put it into car terms. They go, here's Ford. Like, oh, okay, we sell Mustangs. And then they go, oh, people like to put fancy wheels on their Mustangs. So we're going to start selling our Mustangs with, brand XYZ fancy wheel because it's fancy. And is that appealing to Ford, the Mustang owners? Unless they want that wheel, hell no. Now they're paying more money for a stupid wheel that they don't even want. They got to take off. Or
that's exactly what they do, though.
90% of the people who buy those cars, they buy them just so they can drive them just like they are. They are not the kind of people who are going to go, oh, I'm going to change wheels, I'm going to change tires. They're just like, I want to have a cool car. That looks like a cool car.
All right.
Very few gearheads buy brand new cars. It's just not, they don't have the money. So, no, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. Glock is responding to a customer demand, and good on them. That means they're listening to their customers. They're looking at what their customers seem to like.
Then why are most Glocks not customized, if that's the truth?
Boom.
I don't think most Glocks are not customized. Like, I think most of them aren't customized. Most of them are just left stock.
That's what I said.
You just said.
Yeah. So, and I'm just saying that, well,
but the people who do customize it, if Glock provides this thing, I mean, your car thing is actually the exact analogy I was going to use in defense of my point, because there are some people that they just want cool looking rims on their car, but they don't really care which one it is. So if it comes from the factory like that, then they're done. And so if there's people who just want some serrations and it comes from the factory like that, then they're done. People are lazy. So why not Glock make one that charge a little bit more money?
Well, all right. I agree with you that they're going to sell them, but I still say it's short-sighted and not all that creative, because if they looked like Dano and I are saying, the people that do get their Glocks cut are getting them cut unique. So if they're going to do it, pick up a lead from Benchmade or somebody, and then you figure out your little design off of their website with some kind of cool interface, and then you get your Glock sent to your store. That's all with your serrations, because then they would probably
like a built-in like custom shop or something. Yeah, I would agree that would be a good idea.
If they did it in a like 6 types or something, you know, I don't know, but that's getting into what Glock ain't doing. Glock isn't.
That's what the custom shops do, right?
Yeah.
Glock is just saying, in general, people are getting these serrations cut, and they seem to like them. Why not we put out a model that's already got the serrations in it? They don't.
Are you going to put out a model for 5% of your customers?
They will, though. They put out a compensated model. I think that we can all agree Glock ain't doing too many moves that don't make them money.
Well, right. But we're not talking about police departments that are buying in quantity. We're talking about onesies and twosies.
No, we're talking about 10s and 100s, because like these guys are saying, somebody might be shooting Glock at their sports shooting or their recreational shooting, and then they see all these people wigging them out, and they go, oh yeah, that's appealing. And then next time they're buying a gun, they're like, oh snap, I can just get it that way. Good. They don't even care where it came from. They wouldn't care if somebody else did it. They just see that it's done already and they can buy it. So that's
but they're all getting different patterns, I guess, is where I'm saying the onesies and twosies. They're all getting some variation of something.
Well, I hear you. I agree with you, but I agree with these guys more. I guess they did win me over. There's going to be more multitudes of people that are just going to see it in front of them and buy it, and Glock knows that. And
well,
I guess none of us. We're all guessing it's 5%. It might be 20% or 50%. We don't know really.
Well, I'm just going off the actual people I see in the real world and actually see with wearing Glocks and things like that. That's where I'm getting my numbers from.
Well, but that also could be, again, that might be, okay, let's say 5% is the number. That's 5% of people that buy the gun and then are willing to go send it off somewhere and wait and not have it and get some type of custom work done to it. And there could be a whole bunch more that are saying, I wish I could have this, but I just want to buy it from the store, take it out of the box, and then it looks cool. And those are the people that that market doesn't exist yet because it wasn't an option before.
Right. Plus, you can't say what, from your observation, nothing. You don't know how many Glocks I have. I might only wear one or put one in my Instagram pictures, but I might have a lot more than that. And they might be all fancied up, or they might be all just plain because
I'm very much sold on the blank canvas concept, and you can make it your own.
So then that's the one you buy.
Well, whether it's you don't care and you buy that one, or you do care and then you truly make it your own by customizing it just the way you want it, and you're the only one that has that exact design.
And you know what, Dano, there's guys who'll go and buy a brand new plain Jane Mustang and then do all their shit to it to make it super fast and all kinds of custom, but they are very rare. But there are people who do that. Most people just want to go in there and go, I want the fastest one that you've got on the lot. Oh, that color is fine. I don't care about the wheels, but it'll be like something that would have been a custom car 10 years ago.
Right. Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that you're right about that, right? So there are those purists like Dano that say, I want to know every bolt that's in my car, so I'm going to do it myself. And then there are plenty of other people that have a bunch of money and they walk into Roush Racing and they say, "Give me a car," and it just, there you go. They have something cool. I think there are far more of those people.
Exactly.
And I don't deny those people exist. I get you.
Yeah, and I don't think Glock denies those people exist either, because they're going to be making money off of them.
It's just, I guess the only thing in question is, which we don't really know, is, and how many people out there are willing to go out and spend the money, depending on what Glock will charge for that.
Well, and I don't think it matters if it's 1% or if it's 99% or if it's 50%. It doesn't really matter. It's some percentage that people do exist. And if it's not costing Glock that much money to offer it, especially if they charge a little bit more for the serration style, and then that pays for the extra machining, they just keep making whatever people are ordering, and they look at it and say, oh, more people are ordering the serrations, I got to cut some more serrations.
Yeah. And
initially, it actually does matter, because no company wants to hold product in their warehouse that's not moving.
All right, but they know it's going to move because they know so many people are getting this done. So they make a marketing decision. But I'm still back to the point is, this means that Glock actually looks at the people who are using their guns, what they're doing to them, and go, oh, this is something people seem to want. We'll add a model with that on it. What's wrong with that? That's, they're
Well, if Glock actually looked at their customers, they would have come out with the Glock 23 10 years ago. The Glock 43.
Okay.
I mean, Glock does not have a history of looking at what their customers want.
Well, maybe they're trying, and maybe they've made a mistake again. Maybe not. It's up to them. It's their business decision. I still think it shows that they're aware that people are modifying their guns. They're aware of how they're modifying them, and they're going, what can we do as a factory to make this the gun that's available, rather than that one they have to go and spend extra money on. I mean, if anything, they're going to save their customers money.
Right, and they're putting more money in their pocket, because that's the big thing, is that, okay, we're getting X amount for the base model, and then these people are spending a whole bunch more money on all this other stuff. Why don't they pay us for all this other stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And they're not saying, oh, we're going to be the boutique one. We'll do whatever you want for serration. They're saying we're going to do a standard set of serrations, but if you want a serrated barrel, there you go. It's perfect marketing sense, and it does show that they are at least paying attention. I don't see it as a bad thing at all.
All right. Now that we've heard Bob say that 20 times, I think we've exhausted this topic.
So I feel like we've solved it for everyone. You're welcome. We will now move along.
Can we move kind of along but backwards for a moment and kind of do a flashback to tactical tidbits?
Oh, okay. You finally found the tactical Timmies?
You mean you were going to get that dangling tidbit you left back there?
Yes, we are. And today, let me look over on the show notes, is number 14. But before we do number 14, we're going to do a flashback, which is all the way back to Thursday. What was gunfighting rule number 13? Warriors should not have a favorite weapon. And if I remember correctly, at the end of that show, somebody, G-Webs, played a little ditty from the author, Mushashi, something like that. But today is number 14.
Excellent book to listen to. Book of the Five Rings.
Yes. Today, number 14, gunfighting rules. All skill is in vain when an angel pisses in the flintlock of your musket. All skill is in vain when an angel pisses in the flintlock of your musket.
Now, I like that.
I figured you would. And that kind of relates to Murphy's Law. When shit can happen, it will happen, sort of a thing. And it's a matter of being ready for when things go wrong, because things don't always go right. That's why you practice for malfunctions, because
I have a bit of a problem with this one, and I understand in this context, we're only getting the little tidbit, and there's probably more stuff explained behind it. But at first reading, when I hear that, I think of, though, like you just said, malfunction checking and stuff, that counts as skill. So don't say all skill goes out the window when you have a problem, because that's when, a different skill kicks in, as in, how do you improvise and how do you deal with a malfunction? Or if you're talking just fighting skill in general, okay, your gun stopped working, and let's say for whatever reason you can't do a malfunction check or whatever, that's where you punch the guy in the face or something, right? So then that's another skill that's coming into action, because, I can't use this anymore. And so you have to improvise with what you have and get to a position where you can take the time or whatever to clear the weapon and then continue on. So I don't like the idea that all skill goes out the window.
Yeah. And I have no way of knowing what the author meant, but if I were to guess, and it's merely a guess, I would assume that he was taking it from the view of a marksmanship, as far as the mechanical loading, unloading, and firing of the gun, that there is more to it than that. And yes, there's the marksmanship skill, and then there's the fighting skill, which is what you're talking about.
Right.
And I think
so. I just have a problem with the word "all." That's all.
Yep. Yep. And I think he's just not separating marksmanship skill from fighting skill, and fighting through a malfunction.
You're both wrong. I think what this is really saying is that you have to remember, even a Glock can fail, probably more often than you'd like it to. And if it fails to go bang when you absolutely need it to go bang, you can just be hooped. I mean, you can just be done. There's nothing you can do about it. The angel's just pissed in your matchlock. I mean,
There's always something you can do, Bob. See, that's where you fail in your thinking. The moment you think you're done is the moment you've closed the loop on your thinking. There's always something else you can do.
Yeah, if you go click and his goes bang, there's nothing you're going to do at that point.
And if all you did was click, then you already failed there. Why aren't you moving? I mean, I can start going down other scenarios, but that's not the point of this discussion.
Yes, exactly. But what I'm saying is, I think what the saying is that sometimes, even if, you know, no matter what you're doing, it can still go wrong. You can still lose.
You know, you're assuming that A, that you're going to get hit, and that B, it's going to be fatal. Why aren't you clearing that malfunction?
Down.
I mean, again, we could get into that. I mean,
because I'm talking about the first nanoseconds when it goes click, not like a minute.
You're assuming it's a one and done.
Oh.
And very few things are one and done.
We can just sum it up with the well-known proverb: when the going gets tough, the Canadians quit.
Yep. They just lay down and say, I'm done. Stick me with a fork.
Oh, no, you're just missing the point of the saying. He's saying that sometimes shit just won't go right. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're only going to take a round in the shoulder, but you're going to get hit. Right?
Well, what was the saying again about angels and the pissing and the what?
Look.
All right. Let's get back to it. That was, all right. Number 14. All skill is in vain when an angel pisses in the flintlock of your musket.
I said matchlock, not flintlock.
Well, I think there's room for Dana's interpretation that if you're saying all skill goes out the window, that's a weird
skill of a marksmanship.
Oh, I see. So anyway, that leaves room for Dana saying then tactics should be prevalent and you should be already aware of that eventuality and moving on to the next thing. But I also could see where Bob's saying it. That's like, you know, some days the things just ain't happening.
Yep.
All right. That was a good one. Man, everything today has been like little seeds that have grown into full topics. So I got the picture that started the whole discussion about serrations on the screen here. This is auto loaders clock, I guess a 19 with the ATEi. They're up in Michigan, right? ATEi.
Are they?
Yeah, they did serrations on there and then redid as back serrations. I've used these guns. Steve Fisher used to bring them out here all the time, and they're super good. I really, really, really like their upgraded serrations. I don't really care so much on the front. If you like them, then great. But what they do in the back, they're much more, I would say, aggressive, I guess. And stuff on top. It doesn't look like Moon did the top, but they also do a crazy bunch of stuff on the tops of these things. And they'll do full work. It's a pretty good balance here.
I mean, is it just the angle of the picture, or are the serrations not at the same angle? Like the ones on the front seem more straight up and down than the ones at the back, and that kind of that looks strange.
No, I'm pretty sure they're all just perpendicular.
No. They're deeper.
Angle of the picture. But
These
I mean,
serrations are wider front.
I'm talking how much the tops lean back. See how the way they're angled back on the back? It looks like it's more than on the front. Now, is that just a...
This is perpendicular here, I'm pretty sure. I don't think these lean back. They'd have to be mimicking. These are cutting into Glock serrations. So all they're doing is amplifying them. So they didn't change the direction, right?
It's weird because on that picture, they look like the back ones look like they're leaning backwards. And then the front ones look straight up and down, which is just what looks weird to me.
Now, if you turn your head a little bit, does it change?
Nope.
No, it actually looks worse when I turn my head. That's an interesting. Maybe it's screwing with us. Maybe he's Photoshop screwing with us.
Well, no, I'm thinking it's probably just because of the orientation of it. Sometimes stuff, like, you know how you can get that. You look at it one way and it looks like something different than when you look at it the other. Because of the angles on the pistol on the back, because the back strap maybe angles out, that makes them look angled. I don't know. There's weird stuff about
a lot of times if you look at Boom's pictures on Instagram, if you unfocus, remember those pictures where if you used to unfocus and then it would make another picture stand out?
Yeah.
Just another picture stand out. He's that good of a photographer.
Does it make naked women stand out?
I don't know, just whatever he feels like taking a dual image of, I guess. A lot of times there's a funny joke or something.
I have a pressing question that's completely unrelated. If you guys will indulge me.
You can press it against Bob.
Okay, what's better, a Kimber or a Para USA?
Oh, good question.
Better to do a gun buyback or like to
like own?
a Kimber. If you got the money, yeah. If you got the coin, a Kimber. They're beautiful.
Oh, money doesn't matter. I'm gonna win it.
Oh yeah, no, get a Kimber.
I would say talk to somebody that actually knows what they're talking about and see edge.
Yeah, Para Ordnance, they're a really good gun, or the older ones were really good. I don't know what they're like now. But compared to a Kimber, no, it's not the same.
Yeah, Bob, I don't know, you're all up on Kimber's business, but they have as bad a reputation as Para, so there are some good Kimbers. Is it a specific Kimber?
It is the Kimber Camp Guard 10 pistol and 10 millimeter.
Mm-hmm. And then
the other one is the Para USA Elite LS Hunter pistol and 10 millimeter.
So Para is still in business then? They just got bought by somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's made in the Philippines now instead of Canada.
No, they were made in like the Carolinas or something for a while.
We're talking Kimber or Para?
Para. Kimber's never moved from New York.
Para was made in Canada.
Yeah, well, and then they were moved to somewhere in the South Carolina or something. I don't know.
The quality went down, right? And now they're in the Philippines.
All right, I didn't mean to start a big whole thing. I was hoping you guys would just be like, hey, this.
That's two tough ones. I would not want either one of those guns. Maybe whichever one has a bigger, like, resale value, and then you can sell it immediately.
If you don't need to know right away, I would seriously suggest
I need to know right now. It doesn't matter.
Kimber, Kimber.
I'm not like I'm gonna freaking win the thing anyways. Come on, I have to make choices.
Not with that attitude.
I'll go with Kimber because then I can sell it to Bob because he thinks that they're awesome.
The last Kimber I shot,
a bunch of money.
By the subcompact 45. Fuck, it was the best little semi-automatic pistol I've shot since I picked up my high power.
So he sold his second favorite pistol.
Okay. So what else is going on in the show?
Squib said the Para Squib says that the Para ordinance is, they had different names, so whatever it was version of Para USA probably, that they were their pro shop was in Pennsylvania, and then they manufactured them in Canada. So they would make them in Canada, then they'd ship them here to fix them, then they would ship them out to customers. But it's good that they're giving jobs to Canadians,
Oh, blow, man.
Now, Pink is saying that the Para, it's the double stack, but I wonder if that's all their line is double stack or just some of their line.
That's their thing, so most of them are. They do make them other ways, but
right,
I think. All right, well, so I guess we'll talk about the gun shop of the day. Did somebody put this in here?
Somebody must have, but it wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Must have been Dano.
Oh, it was me. So I was poking around on, I didn't recognize the name. That's why I wasn't sure. So I was poking around on GoFundMe, which is, according to Brandon, which we'll do also here in a minute, the largest funding platform. And I didn't know that. I figured Kickstarter was. So GoFundMe has a lot of individuals, like people that are down in the luck or whatever, or I don't know, worrying about some kind of medical bill or something. And they put a hand out to the world to try to get help with that, a lot of causes. Now, some of the other platforms don't allow charities and individual situations like that. So that might be a reason why they go to GoFundMe, I guess. Anyhow, so Brandon is doing a thing over there. We'll talk about that in a second. But since I was looking around at the platform, I'm always interested in these platforms that are that allow people to communicate with each other, that create community, that offer audiences ways to interact with content creators. So I was looking at it just as a platform. I haven't looked at it in a while, and I stumbled across this one, and it's called Save Full Blown Firearms Gun Range. That was a cool looking range, and it's a $100,000 goal. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to reach it or not, and I'm not necessarily suggesting that you donate to it. I don't have any affiliation with them. I don't have any reason to believe it's a scam, but I just don't know the people, so I just picked it randomly because it was about a gun range. But it actually looks like a pretty cool range, right? You got a couple of dogs there in the shop, and if you read the story, I guess they have 20 acres, which isn't really big, and they live in Georgia, and they had a couple of 20 acres, and a couple of 2.5 years ago, I guess, they opened up this gun range and gunsmith shop, and now their neighbors aren't happy with them. To me, it almost looks like it's down in a hole from some of these pictures, right? So you would think most of that noise is going straight up, but I don't know the whole story. Anyway, there's some people that are participating. They're trying to get $100,000. I don't know if that's for legal bills or what, but they're only up to 1,000. It's only been going for a couple of days though, and I don't know if these are things that end or not. But anyway, since we'd like to talk about a gun shop every day, and we had a spot open, I figured this would substitute for a gun shop of the day. What do you guys think? Doing efforts like this keep gun ranges open?
Well, I think it's a great idea. I think anything you can do to keep gun range open, because I mean, a lot of it, like, people are just bastards these days. Like, as far as in their neighborhood, they want it to be completely quiet, even though when they moved there, this thing was already there. It's like the people who are protesting to shut down small airports. Oh, the noise bothers us. Well, you built your house like 100 yards away from the end of the runway. You know, that was your choice. We were here. And I think it's the same with gun ranges. If you're there and you're, following all the safety rules and everything, and the decibel noise isn't that loud at whatever your property line is, then why the hell not? You have to shut down, I guess, with noise bylaws. But beyond that, why shouldn't you be able to make as much noise on your own property as you like while it's allowed under the bylaws? Especially if you were there first.
Well, yeah, I'm very much so if you're there first. And I never did understand people that would have either a new home built next to an airport or next, in hearing range of a firearm, something, or a gravel pit. And then after they move in, start complaining about the noise when they knew that was there the whole time. Or they were willingly ignorant and didn't bother to check it out and find out, oh yeah, that place, that's been there for years. You just weren't here during the daytime.
Exactly.
To hear it going. Well, that's not a fault of theirs. That's a fault of yours.
Right. But yet these people still feel completely entitled to go and sue the company and try to run it out of business. Yeah. Even though it might be just a small family business. It's bullshit.
Yes, yeah, so I think that's kind of a cool idea. But I don't know. The GoFundMe thing is definitely, it is more just like charity thing, right? Like it's just for, oh, I feel bad for this person and I want to help them out or whatever. Which, I mean, that's fine, that's cool, and especially with the gun range thing. But I would like to see, instead of just saying, well, I'm going to toss some money that way, like I'd like to see the local people be like, you know what, I'm going to get a membership to the thing and I'm going to show up all the time. So I thought there'd be like more impact if, just more people join the thing. They'd get more money, and then they'd have more allies to go to the city council meeting or whatever and say, hey, I go there every Tuesday. It's not a problem.
Yeah, but there are probably a lot of members, and they're the ones that are trying to keep this place going, right? So I know right. This is convenient to my home, but how many would there be? Like, look at a small, gun range like that. How many would have? Maybe 100, 150? Paying what, 20, 20 or $200 a year. Say they're paying $100 a year, and there's 800 of them, right? That's $8,000 a year. $8,000? No,
It doesn't matter. So, anyways, yeah, I see what you're saying. It just,
it's
and
not
I
that.
guess it's cool if they can tap into people that aren't local. And that, did you even say where this is? Like, I don't even know what state
Georgia.
this one's in.
Georgia.
In Georgia. Okay.
In or near Williamson, Georgia.
All right. So, but yeah, I mean, if it's, and maybe there are some people that just cruise around on GoFundMe and say, "Oh, I got some money burning in my pocket. I'm going to go help some people." I think that's really cool. I really do like the idea of, what do they call that?
Crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding. But I thought there was something else, like
It's also
a little angel, or there's something where where it's
anonymous charity, right? Because you're giving them money, but you're not. You really, most of those you don't expect to get anything for it, other than it's going to make you feel better. You're helping somebody else out.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the term, because it was something about angels, but lots of little angels instead of one big angel type of thing. But I forget what the term was.
Let's look at this little angel.
Eh.
I mean, yeah. You just add a puppy. Bob was usually the one that got hated by the audience, and now it'll be Smeggy because he.
Well, I mean, that's a puppy that like ran head first into a wall or something and smushed his face all up.
Go back one.
Wait a
One
minute.
more.
What is wrong with this puppy? Like, what the hell?
Now that's something worth looking at.
This puppy, I agree with you. It's not sexist at all, Dano. This is a cute little puppy.
I disagree. It's a puppy that got its face smashed into a wall.
That's a cute puppy, but I wouldn't own one.
Hold on.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I think that's cute, right there. No, not
See that
that.
little puppy belly? See that little puppy belly right there? I'm rubbing a little puppy belly right there.
I just don't like short-nosed dogs.
Oh, please.
They have breathing problems.
I would pet them if they're around. I'm not saying that I don't like
Would
puppies.
you do this range, or because of their puppy preferences, you'd be like, nope.
Oh, so
I would shoot at the range, yeah.
That looks like a nice range.
I can't figure out how big this place is, because looking through the pictures here, I didn't see this anywhere. This looks awesome. I mean, I saw this a couple of times, but then there's also that place with all the steel, and then there's something where they have like long range bays set up. So they're definitely doing some work over here. And look at, does this look like it's anywhere near anybody? I can't believe anybody's worrying about noise here. There's this big giant berm around 3/4 of it.
Well, but in a valley like that, the sound can echo off the hills, and it's not that it's shocking. It's the fact that they suddenly realize, oh, there's a gun over there. That fact alone is enough to irritate them.
Well, it doesn't look like it's not crowded, so it's probably persistent all day long. Look at all these women are shooting their guns up in the air, so all kinds of ruckus.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
Bunch
well,
of noisemakers.
yeah. Middle-aged women are crazy.
Yep, and there goes our middle-aged women demographic again. Thanks, Bob. We just started building it up.
No, I mean crazy in a good way. They're a lot of fun to party with.
Now we scared the ones that were sticking around away. All right. So we got a pretty good group. Anyway, there's a lot of pictures on their website. I'd recommend it. If you'd like the concept, throw them a couple of bucks. If not, share the project. That helps a lot. When we're talking about social media, it's all about reach. And obviously they can't pay the bills, so they're not paying for marketing or whatever, not paying for advertising on this.
I have a question. Do you know specifically about GoFundMe? Like, do they have to reach their goal to get the money, or just they put that out there so people like keep giving till they get that amount?
I have no idea. I don't know. I've never done a GoFundMe, I don't think. I think I might have set one up once, or I maybe even did one, and it was just a test, and I didn't follow through on it. I don't remember ever doing one fully. But it does say right now, #1 funding platform. People have raised more money on GoFundMe than anywhere else, which seems amazing considering how big of projects have been on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
No, and that's kind of cool to hear about humanity, because GoFundMe's the one where you give them money for nothing in return. At least Kickstarter, like even the big projects, you get your name in the credits of a movie, or you get your name on something, or you get a little T-shirt or what, like you get something back to be like, oh, look, I helped make this thing happen. So that's the GoFundMe thing, is people just giving money out of their own hearts for nothing else.
I'm going to do a GoFundMe for W Key.
That'd be a good one.
All right, so I think with that, we will move on to whatever the next thing is. But before we do, we'll take a break between this and that segment to head over to our Patreon page. Oh, wait, am I still screen sharing?
No, you're not.
Okay, so I will log in over here and then screen share.
I just saw his password.
Wait, is it screen share?
No, it's not. Daniel's just being a dork.
X95 exclamation point 452B.
I know what his passwords look like, and there's no way if you saw it for a second you'd ever be able to remember it. Believe me.
So we have a Patreon page. This is the way that we put our hat out. We're doing our little mime. What are we? Mimes. No, like the people that paint
We're better than mimes. We're at least like street jugglers or something.
So Smeggy's juggling, Dano and Bob are miming, and I'm acting like I don't know. I'm just standing there.
Seriously,
well, if we get to pick our thing, then I get to be drumming on buckets because I like those guys. Different size buckets.
Dano, a mime? Me and Dano as mimes? We're the ones who are usually talking the most.
That's why I thought it was ironic. I'll make little balloon animals out of balloons. I'll make balloon guns out of balloons, like little glocks. And
yeah. That would be such a cool party trick for an NRA birthday party.
You gonna put serrations on those, or that pop the balloons?
Oh snap! Yeah, there's no way I'm putting serrations on. I'm gonna let people do that themselves if they want to.
Then they got to come back pay you for another balloon. I broke mine.
Do that with a marker. So, or you know what you could do it with? Scotch tape. You could use Scotch tape to make little. Anyway. So. Is everybody okay?
Daniel's getting attacked? What's up with that?
That's my interrupter.
It interrupts. So anyhow, we're doing all this stuff and we're throwing out a hat because we're trying to desperately to make ends meet. Because right now there's 4 grown men getting together every single day for an hour or more, and then a couple other hours throughout the month to keep it all running. And we really want to take it to the next level. It's a heck of a lot of our time. Our goal is to get this thing into something where we got guests coming. Getting guests coming takes a little bit of time to prep, which would take even more time, which we'd love to be able to offer. And we need to be able to work that in. Right now, we're bringing in about $85, thanks to everybody who's participating on the Patreon financially. So we do appreciate that. However, that's barely paying for the new rounds of shipping that we'll be doing with the new tactical quiz and the pop quizzes and everything going forward. So we could definitely
prizes.
What's that?
With the fabulous prizes.
Seriously, yeah, this is going to be ate up really quick when we start shipping things at $11 a box, right? So we're going to, definitely be making people aware that we do have a Patreon over there. It's not, there's definitely other people using Patreon. We're not trying to sell you on the platform, but we just want to let people know that we would like to grow the show, and we can do that with your help. We don't have sponsors. I guess if we have to resort to that, we'll explore it. But at this point, we really do want to continue to do the show for our audience, and that requires a little bit of interactivity. So that's as much commercial as you're going to get on our show, really. And then we can go back to saying our actual opinions about Glocks or whatever other product we might want to talk about. So I guess with that, yeah, exactly. Oh, look at this! Look at this. Is this
gun of the day?
Yeah. How did this happen? This was coincidence, I guess. So
Bob was looking earlier.
Yeah, that's why he was so excited about it. Or no, Smeggy's the one that brought that up. Oh, I got to go over here and mess with this thing. So
I just happened.
Let me take a close-up look at a few of them. What'd you say, Bob?
I just happen to like Kimber's
Ultra CDP II. Two of them. This one is the
what the hell?
Ultra.
No one pauses baby in the corner.
Yeah, stupid Kimbers.
Hey. Now, actually, the one I shot was a beautiful gun. Now, mind you, that was at SHOT Show. I'm sure they brought their very best there, but it was just gorgeous, and it had a trigger. It's like making love to a beautiful lady. It was just perfect.
I want to apologize for every lady who is listening to the show.
It would actually only be effective if ladies listen to our show.
Ladies, listen to our show.
Not going to happen if you keep doing that.
I didn't realize we were like editing our live YouTube accounts while we were live on show.
Well, we are, because I posted this video. I posted this video in 2011, and back then I used a thing called Windows Media Player. Whatever it was called, the thing that just ran on was on your Windows operating system. I didn't pay anything for it, and for a long time that worked fine. And then at some point, YouTube and Microsoft must have gotten a big fight, and they squished everything made on Windows Media Player into this little crazy keyhole. I don't know what to call that view. So I need to go in there and add that code that I found on the internet, YouTube stretch 16:4 or something, and then put that into the what do they call them? Tabs? What do they call them? The code, the little tags that the videos get, and then it tells YouTube to bring the video to full size. So in order for a full viewing experience, that was necessary. And instead of doing it off air, I figured since today was the day that we typically touch on behind the scenes kind of things, I would just do it live in order so that I could address that. So thanks for bringing it up. So anyhow, once that's accomplished, we can look at Kimbers. This was a video I did back in 2011. I just pulled out whatever Kimbers I had in the room at the time. And I guess we were talking about this Ultra CDP II. So this is not one of the ones you were talking about, right, Smeggy?
That's correct. I was trying to decide between two different 10 millimeters.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I don't know. I haven't shot. I guess I have shot a 10 millimeter Kimber. But anyway, Kimbers are made in New York, and I guess they had a good reputation, and then their reputation became tarnished, not so much because of the quality of the gun, I suspect, but because of their interaction with dealers, and they just pissed off so many dealers with their lack of ability to maintain orders and stuff, and then sending wrong stuff. I mean, just with my limited personal experience with a company that was a master dealer for them, which you would think would get seniority. They have different levels of dealership. You know, people that order more, people order the complete line, for example, you would think would get better treatment from the company than somebody who just orders 2 models or something. So from my experience, they were just really difficult company to deal with compared to other firearms companies. So I have no idea if they were, due to their circumstances, maybe they were doing really, really good. Maybe it wasn't a failure on their end, but at least comparatively, the user experience on the gun shop's end was just a difficult company to deal with. And that can't be good for the gun's reputation out in the marketplace, because if they can't keep their salesmen happy, their dealers that are selling them, they're never going to recommend them, right? They're going to quit carrying them, for one. And the lack of appearance on shelves is going to give people some impression of them. I think personally they just do too many varieties. It's just, I don't know. I'm an expert on business now. I've seen Shark Tank, and the first thing they would have told Kimber is get rid of all these varieties, get whatever 2 or 3 are selling, ditch all the rest.
In some ways, that kind of goes back to our conversation about glock and serrations, and about if you start customizing everything, you have so many variations, so many SKUs, that you start to lose your focus as a product line.
How many different models of Glocks are there now, Daniel?
No, we're talking about Kimber as the example.
Yeah, but you were mentioning Glock serrations. So I'm just saying, yeah. And
if they were to offer, 20 different variations.
Yeah, but Skynet just makes Glocks out of a freaking robot arms and whatever and machines, where Kimbers are made by human beings that got to sit there with files and make 1911s work. So if you give that guy 3 options or 3 ways to make a gun, and then you give the guy 30 ways to make a gun, that's asking him to be a pretty good artisan, right?
Yeah. Well, it just shows that Kimbers are actually made by humans, so they're better guns than the robot made.
Well, but if you're paying a pretty good price, shouldn't you be able to expect that with the price you're paying?
Well, you pay a little extra to have a human do it instead of a robot. I don't have a problem with that. I don't trust robots. All right, that's Skynet's coming, man.
Hey, Skynet knows you inside and out, Bob.
You know what, Dano? And Skynet's going to be one of the first things takes over your jobs, right? It's when they have the Ubers are all like robot-driven cars because they work even cheaper than you do.
It's only a matter of time.
Oh, true. It's coming. These self-driving cars are no more than 10 years away. I guarantee it.
But back to Kimber.
I went over to get my spring rolls out of the toaster oven, and it got.
You can't leave Bob unattended. Come on.
Yeah, I
You
went
know better than that.
to whatever the hell.
So anyway, I like a Kimber because it's handmade. The one I shot recently, which, you know, of course sticks in my memory because it was recent, was beautiful. It was a gorgeous gun to shoot. Oh God, you know, I would probably sell my Ruger and my Piata pistol to buy a Kimber, but they probably wouldn't bring enough money. So
You don't think a Ruger would bring up enough money, huh?
no, 357 Ruger Blackhawk. No, it's not worth that much money. Not enough to buy a Kimber.
Kimbers pretty much started $1,000. I mean, you can get $700 Kimbers that are plain Jane, but they're basically.
I want the one I shot. I want that little subcompact 45. That was just that's a gun.
Oh Jesus, what the hell's going on right now?
Is he having some sort of pressure release?
So you're not talking about the Kimber little 380 thing where they're like, hey, you know what? Instead of being
No.
1911s, let's make some little solid metal, little tiny gun that weighs more.
No, I went to Kimber and said, I want to shoot your short-barreled 45, and they gave me this beautiful, all tooled up one, all engraved, and said, yeah, go ahead and shoot that. And I'm like, ah. And I shot it, and it was the most beautiful thing, and I'm in love. And I just can't afford her. She's a pricey whore, but oh God, she's good.
Oh my God, I don't know what's happening to the show today. So we're gonna just try it.
Yeah, please, somebody save the show immediately.
So we talk about a gun movie every day. If we can get everyone's, just please move along over to the gun movie of the day. So every day we're going to talk about a gun-related movie, something you might not have seen in a while. Or if you're a youngin', which shouldn't be listening to the show today, there's warnings. We just do our warnings after Bob says stuff. Then you haven't seen this yet, but it is called Assault on Precinct 13. It's a show about, I guess, a police station in New York. They have so many people there, they have to have more than one police station. So they have these precincts or whatever, and I guess one of them is closing down. I confuse them because there's an old real one, and then there's the fake remake, and I don't think they're the same, really. I don't think they're the same plot, and I'm confused, I think. But I think the police station's getting closed down because they don't have crime anymore or something, and then a bunch of burglars go in there to steal something from an empty police station or something like that. Have you guys seen this movie?
I don't know. Now you mentioned there's two of them. I'm not sure which one I saw.
Not the one you're describing, that's for damn sure. I remember there's robbery, but they didn't seem to be harmless burglars.
Well, what? No, it wasn't harmless burglars, or was it like somebody was a prisoner and they brought them there because they were getting hijacked or something, and that was the place they could go?
Yeah.
The one I found from 2005 is a police sergeant must rally the cops and prisoners together to protect themselves on New Year's Eve, just as corrupt policemen surround the station with the intent of killing all to keep their deception in the ranks.
Oh, that was the new one. That was the new one.
The new one? Okay. Well,
just for reference, the old one, made in 1976, police sergeant and unlikely band of criminals defend a closing LA peace office on New Year's Eve against an army of gang members.
Right.
I thought it was New York. I'm not good at remembering movies.
It's completely different, though, Dano. The way they did the storyline was completely different.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying exact same title.
Yeah, but
No, it's not, it is.
that's how words work or whatever.
You've seen them both, though, Dano. Yes, it's the exact same title, but because of the times, like in the 70s, it was like, and whereas nowadays it's like, oh, the police are the end. Now it's like the 70s one was more right wing. The 85 one was way closer to Justice Warrior.
What are you talking about? How is Assault on Precinct 13 and Assault on Precinct 13, not the same title.
Well, no, it's the same title, Dano. I'm just saying it's a different movie.
Oh, really? I never would have known that. So anyways, let's talk about this, the one from the 70s. I have not seen it. It seems interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the newer one from 2005. I had not seen the one from 1976.
I saw the new one, and it was a movie. And then I saw the old one. From what I remember, I was like, oh, this is much better. I just don't remember either one very well anymore. I don't remember if they were available on Netflix. This might have been back in the Blockbuster days, like getting them in the mail.
I actually used to go to the Blockbuster. I actually used to 7-Eleven used to rent them. Rent VHS tapes.
That would be smart. They didn't do that down here.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the gas stations up north would do that because, there's only, like, you go into town there, and that's all there is like a freaking gas station. That's it. So they would have rentals up there.
Yeah. And milk and bread. Because it might be the
and
only
Daily Gun Show.
50 miles. And
Well, I'm thinking that's everything.
I think we did it.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like we're missing something in history.
Well, we
It is
talked about
about to
Tiananmen
be
Square.
an important day in history.
Well, Tiananmen Square, 1989, January
Well,
4th.
I mean,
I
you
just said that, Dano. I just said we talked about Tin Man Square. So,
We talked about, say it again, what square?
well, Tiananmen. What were you saying? You were saying Tin Man.
Man?
What? No,
Tin
you were
Man?
saying
Oh
Tin
my
Man.
God! Seriously, guys, who cares?
I'm going through
Fighting
history.
over how we're talking.
The
Jesus.
Six-Day War between Israel and Egypt began today in 1967. Oh,
What?
2004, former U.S. President Ronald Reagan died at 93 years old. He was the 40th president of the United States. That was today in 2004.
He was one of the better ones. I kind of liked him.
Yeah, but he turned anti-gun at the end there.
Well, we got a big one coming up tomorrow, so everybody can be ready for that one. And then we will be back with episode. Wait, I gotta scroll my thing over to 327, and that'll bring us, like we talked about earlier. What would you define? What did we even talk about this earlier? What would you define as the gun lobby? Publicizing your gun hobby. I guess we did talk about that. And then the hashtag Daily Gun Show Showdown, as well as all the other stuff we get on a daily basis. So we'll see you back here at the same time tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 Pacific.
We should actually talk about those little tiny Chevy V8s that they make. Because, 327 is kind of a famous Chevy engine. And I know that there's someone on the
There we go. Now, if he just unmutes and reads the quote, we'll be good to go. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, share. Check out Patreon. Check out Gun Channels. And use hashtag Daily Gun Show on the Instagrams.
Yeah, I'm here, dude. I don't know. I think I was muted.
You were, but I finished up that for you so you can throw the quote out and we're good to go.
Yeah, okay. I told everybody to. All right. I was going on how tomorrow is 3:57.
We know who you were.
Okay, whatever. This one's by Dr. Mike Adams. And before I say it, I just want to thank everybody for watching and listening. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. But first, let's talk about this Dr. Mike Adams quote. Now, this is, I think, a wonderful quote. So I'm just going to read it. The gun control extremist has at least two things in common with the Islamic extremist. He has a willingness to die for his fundamental beliefs, and he has a sanctimony to demand that others go with him. So, let's keep that in our heads and think about that, because that's kind of what the truth is. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.